welcome to the 2021 Revenue Manager Academy Awards. Over the last 2 years, hotels have experienced a steady performance decline. Guests expected exceptional value at a discounted price. However, a group of revenue managers have used their combined skills and expertise to manage a 3 to 4 star hotel called H&M with 250 guest rooms. This year, at the Academy Award of Revenue Managers, we celebrate H&M's accomplishments of having the best RGI growth among a competitive set of 10 hotels and best room revenue forecast accuracy for year 2. Today, I have the pleasure to interview the bright minds behind H&M's success by delivering into their key strategies, analyzing their hotel's performance, talk about their worst month, highlight their best one, and have exclusive insight of their reflections and future strategies. Welcome to the 2021 Revenue Manager Academy Awards.
Due to the current COVID restrictions in Switzerland, let's connect Hotel H&M through an online meeting.
Thank you for your awards. Our team will be introducing key strategies, our hotel performance, best and worst month highlights, past decision reflection, and future strategies. I will be starting off with our key strategies, which consist of our rate positioning, forecasting, targeted segments, channel mix, and advertising. Our initial approach to pricing was based on a heat map that contained the different prices published through the different channels of our competitors. The color coding went from green to red to determine the lowest and highest rates. We intended to position ourselves in the market by offering a price that stayed in the middle range prices, avoiding the extremes and staying between yellow and orange tones. To input our decisions in terms of pricing, we use the heat map as a predictor of the competitors' decisions and the seasonality and trends information that showcase the expected demand. In August, we realized that the conditional formatting formula was not entirely accurate. We were inserting all the rates from our hotels and the comp set per channel into the conditional formatting, without making a distinction between weekend and weekday. We realized that this divergence had to be made since the demand and occupancy variated between weekend and weekday, and our pricing should recognize this variation. As you can see in the heat maps projected on the screen, on the left we were not making a distinction in our conditional formatting, while on the right we had separated weekend and weekday. We were able to recognize our mistakes since our rates in July were too expensive, based on our inaccurate comparison. As can be seen from this graph, there was a significant drop in the occupancy index in July when the error occurred. As it would be expected, our ARI was high in this month, but this didn't compensate for our decrease in occupancy index, which was showcased in the significant drop in our RevPAR index. Our bad performance in July was a breaking point that made us start questioning our pricing strategy and how we wanted to position ourselves in the market. We also started to take more into account our market share as a crucial indicator of our performance. Since 10 hotels were participating in the simulation, the market would be evenly split with a 10% share of the market per hotel. Therefore, taking a percentage above 10% of the market would indicate successful management of rates, quality, and advertising. At this point, we also incorporated a key element to our analysis. We started using the price value map in a different way. Before, just as we were trying to position ourselves in the middle pricing in the heat map, we would try to reach the center of the PV map as the unique point of success indicator. We realized that within the map, there were various points that could be indicators of a good performance. The way to measure our success was to align our pricing to the quality provided. That within the map there was a diagonal line that matched the pricing and the quality, and if we were able to position ourselves in the fair value line, we would be increasing our market share as our offering would be accurate. When deciding our price, we would take into consideration our reputation management, planned refurbishments, competitor past activity, and future predictions. In the first months, pickup forecast, we decided to match the fair share, expecting to be able to take 10% of the market share. After we changed to value-based pricing, we allocated our pickup in terms of the market demand, meeting the performance we had observed in the different types of rooms and combining it with the expectations of what other competitors were doing. To do this, we used 3 different tools: the heat rate map, demand variance tables, and the reputation management report. We used the heat map to understand who the competitors were trying to target. For example, if we observe that a group of hotels consistently were charging lower prices than the ones we considered match the quality we were providing, we would not expect to receive as much pickup from these segments than from the segments where we were competitive in terms of price offering. At the same time, for every month, we created a demand variance table that compared the previous month performance with the expected fair share for the following month to understand what the precise forecasted change in demand for different target segments, weekday and weekend, would be. Finally, we took into account also the reputation management report to understand where our offering was standing and how it would be perceived by the guests, and therefore allocate the pickup in terms of how attractive our offering was. Finally, for target segment, channel mix, and advertising, we were targeting discounted groups because they were more consistent in terms of demand for all the quarters. We also focused a little more on groups, especially small groups, as they were also very consistent in terms of demand. We remained very strict in terms of the allocation of our percentage of marketing expenditure, staying always between 2 to 4.5%, according to demand fluctuation and seasonality. To decide how to allocate this expenditure percentage, we use the seasonality information, the demand variance table, and the breakdown of channel demand given. The seasonality along with the variance table was a useful indicator to forecast the demand and therefore how to accurately target it. The breakdown of channel demand was useful to know what channels to use to target these fluctuations in demand and how to best distribute our marketing and advertising budget. During high demand seasons, we increased direct channel to avoid paying higher commission costs. We also know that for most of the discounted and group use direct channel. Therefore, we invested heavily in direct for advertising. Next, my teammates Leonardo and Martin will be elaborating how these strategies turn out for the hotel performance.
Moving on to internal evaluation. Internally, we managed to increase total occupancy from 48% in January year 1 to 76% at the highest in April of year 2. Also, you may find in the internal KPIs chart that the trend line of occupancy and ADR are not inversely related, meaning that our occupancy doesn't change significantly with the increase or decrease in ADR. There seems to be a sweet spot based on a relatively accurate forecast and pricing so that they are working together. Speaking of revenue, increases by around 93% were witnessed for both RevPAR and TRevPAR from the month we took over the hotel H&M. From the RevPAR versus TRevPAR chart, we can see that in June, August, and September of year 1, the revenue differences reached up to $13 thanks to our ancillary facilities and services implemented before the peak season. Regarding market segments by channels, the data shows that direct bookings took the biggest portion overall, which makes sense because it was the main guest segment that we aimed to attract and convert into a stable and profitable group. However, we also put emphasis on both GDS and OTA channels, since it helps the hotel maximize exposure to prospective guests, suppliers, and distributors. In the pie chart categorized by weekday and weekend, you can tell that we placed a heavier focus on OTAs by 5% compared to weekdays due to more leisure and individual room requests during the weekend. Now we'll move on to external assessment.
To put this data in the external market, external indexes chart, we are proud to say our RGR growth within these 18 operating months ranked first among all Comsat hotels, along with 12 months of AGI and 11 months of MPI over market baseline. Worth pointing out, we have reached an average of 100.2 ARI throughout operating period, which achieved the ADR goal set by the owner. By looking into our occupancy indexes chart in external competition, we can see that MPI for group segment fluctuate the most due to our low group pricing strategy in July year 1 and RFP in April year 2. And to point out, the MPI performance for February, September, December year 1, and January year 2 all managed to surpass the comp set on the baseline together. So, followed with our key strategy and rate positioning, average market share for rooms, we were able to keep above market share after August. Specifically, we gained the highest market shares of an 11.06 in April year 2, while we had an obvious drop down in July year 1 due to the mistaken forecast and pricing strategy. Talking about financial performance, we utilized total revenue, net profit, and GOP as our major performance indicators. As you can see on the chart, financial performance summary, our total revenue reached the highest on August year 1 of 1,296,881, contributed by the peak recent and corrected forecast. It's also the same month that we get the highest GOP of almost 47% and GOP par and $78. Generally speaking, in our 18 operating months, we responded to the owner's expectation of an annual GOP profit of a minimum of 40% and a 10% net profit, we have reached 10 months with the GOP goal and 13 months with more than 10% net profit.
Next up, we have Sophia to talk about our best and worst months.
Hello, next I'm going to cover the best and worst month. Our journey was quite challenging, but there are some highlights I would like to talk about. Our best performing month internally was August year 1. We achieved our highest revenue, as you can see in the graph. This was consistent, successful month, as we also achieved our highest RevPAR of 154 and TRevPAR 167 during this month. In addition, our GOP amounted to 47.79% and our net profit to 21.57%, our highest one recorded. This internal month was the most profitable. There were many factors that influenced our success. Definitely the high season was an important factor, but we mainly attribute our success to our new strategies that came together and we firstly implemented this month. Regarding our worst month, we reached our lowest point when we first started. We were quite lost and our statistics were very low. As you can see in the graph, in January of year 1, our net profit was 2.64%. At the same time, we also produced our lowest recorded GOP of 32.54% and our lowest RevPAR of 80. We had the lowest revenue recorded and RevPAR of 86. These KPIs show that January year 1 was the worst performing month. We could link this to the fact that it was our first month taking over. We didn't have any mature plans nor refurbishments completed. We started from the lowest point, but from there, we only grew. Regarding our best month externally, if we look at it, there's quite a difference. After all, regardless of how great or bad we were, it depends on how our competitors performed as well. Our best month compared to others will be February of year 1 because our RGI was at 105.6 with an average of 103.53. Regarding our worst month externally, it was July. Our RGI was at its lowest at 86.9 and our average external indexes at 91.43. We made a severe mistake in our ADR and an error in conditional formatting in our heat map. Next, Eileen will be talking about our past decisions.
I will be covering areas including decisions made in refurbishment, marketing, and channel management. First off, we started with doing a soft goods redo for premium rooms and renovation for meeting rooms in hopes of preparing for a high demand season. However, upon looking back and analyzing our decisions, we realized that it was a huge mistake. First of all, we were not aware of the initial status of our facilities, which we saw that it's all started out at 70%. This meant that for the meeting rooms renovation, we only increased 70% to 100%, and this could have been done easily with a 10% increase with cleaning, and it would have cost us a lot lesser. A more worthy investment that can be seen here is renovating when we're at 52%, like what we did for the lobby and public areas. The same thing happened with premium rooms soft good redo. A soft good redo usually caps us at 65%, but in this case, because we started at 70%, we were only able to keep 70% for 3 months. This is not worth it as it did not increase our reputation percentage any further. Usually, a renovation will last about 5 months before it gets to 70% as observed from other reputation percentage data. We can also see here that the refurbishment for the premium rooms did not affect the guest satisfaction at all, especially since we spent like $250,000 on this and it was the most expensive refurbishment we ever did. A calculation we should have done would be this refurbishment cost per percentage increase. Assuming that we did a soft good redo or renovation at 52%, which is the first time that is indicated in red on our reputation management percentage table. A soft good redo leads to an increase in 13% and a renovation of 48%. From this chart, we can see that the refurbishment cost per percentage increase is rarely linear at all. There are even soft good redos that are more expensive per percentage increase than renovations. From here, we can conclude that we should not do a soft good redo or renovate right from the start despite it being low demand season. Furthermore, as this money in this fund is limited by a monthly 5% contribution from our revenue, we should have spent this money more on facilities right from the beginning, such as a business center, as later on we lacked funds to do the facilities, which resulted in our guest satisfaction to be cut at 50%. Having more facilities will allow us to increase our ADR, guest satisfaction, and be more competitive to earn a higher revenue and TRevPAR. Moving on to marketing, we chose to employ everything we could from March for year 1 in hopes of boosting our performance, but we could have been more selective. Starting from January year one, we had loyalty program, which is supposed to help us attract direct booking and retain customers from our market momentum. We can see here that's not really working as our market momentum is relatively low in ranking compared to our competitors. However, we also cannot be sure if it's actually giving us any benefits because we have no data to compare without the loyalty program. So maybe we could have used a couple of months off without this program to see if whether this $5,000 investment monthly is actually efficient and effective. Another thing we could do was to cut down on the guest response services. As you can see from the guest response services, it's not very helpful because we always got the same replies. This is because as compared to other hotels, we did not invest as much as we were trying to keep within our advertising budget. So if you add this $1,400 with the $5,000 from before in advertising, we can actually have better advertising in terms of investing more while keeping the same percentage on our budget. Lastly, I'll be talking about channel management. We were mostly using the fixed channel distribution demand given to us in a document, as you can see here, and varying it by putting more emphasis on the direct channel during high season to reduce cost and commission. This meant that we did not use our distribution cost variance to determine a more targeted advertising, as a positive distribution cost variance would mean that we over forecasted and that there were more direct bookings and vice versa, where a negative variance meant that other channels were more popular due to the difference in commission. When deciding advertising costs, we need to consider the demand for the target segment and also the distribution channels. We have the data for advertising from the demand variance we were able to calculate, but the channel demand is not adjusted to season. We should have made use of the accurate revenue forecast and the distribution cost variance to better forecast the change in distribution channel demand according to season and subsequently the advertising cost to make the advertising more targeted and effective. This will give us a larger market share and has a higher contribution margin of each channel. We will be able to see the result from this graph when the trend of the total revenue change is reflected by the advertising cost. From this graph, we can see that in certain parts, even though we increased our advertising spend, the total revenue actually did not go up for that channel. Next, Queenie will be discussing our future strategies.
Thank you, Elaine. So, talking about our short-term strategies in 6 months, our team wants to sustain with current rate positioning strategies since it showcases an ideal approach of balancing occupancy and ADR. Based on our previous strategy introduced by my colleague, our pricing approach through PV map and heat map has helped achieving a relatively reliable forecast. Therefore, in short term, we will continue using this method to set our price that position ourselves in the price-value best fit line. By doing so, we aim to maintain effective revenue forecasts and further able to invest accurately in advertising and therefore capture market share above the average. Secondly, we want to focus more on OTA channel, which we were less focused on in the past operation. Online travel agency platform is very attractive to our current operating status since we still want to maintain the major proportion gained from the direct booking, but also to attract new segments. As shown in this total room sold and advertising expense pie chart, the spending in transient expense didn't achieve in a positive correlation, while there's still space to develop in discounted and group segments. To add on, OTA can bring our hotel with larger exposures to those prospective guests, for whom first discover the hotel listing on the OTA and then visit the property's own website to directly book their trip. In this way, we can guarantee rate offer on our direct channels are lower than OTAs to get the bookings. So the last short-term goal we want to achieve is to attract group business under a scientific and practical calculation method for RFP. That is the area that we were less focused on before as well. Throughout 18 operating months, we were only took one RFP request successfully in April year 2. Actually, we can look into the insights brought by this case. A quick recap on for this case that the group requested 100 standard double rooms for entire month of April on Sunday to Friday. The total room nights are 2,000 and our hotel ended up accepting this offer with the room rate of $96.99. The RFP request has boosted our occupancy by 14% in total occupancy, and in occupancy in weekday has reached 83% compared to April year 1. Despite a slight drop in ADR, the RGI growth from 100 to 105 within the same month in 2 years. Also, the increase in RevPAR indicated the ancillary revenue gained by large group is also worth striving for. In addition, groups can always be a mean to increase occupancy, especially in next 6 months, we will go through a slack season after the peak in summer. So, talking about the long term. In the long term, for 3 years, we will consider both investment in facilities and refurbishment. Firstly, looking into our current status for facilities, we are missing our spa, business center, fitness center, themed restaurant, for which kept us at 50% reflected in guest satisfaction. Also, no other hotel has a spa yet, and only one hotel has a fitness center. Also, we are aware that there are demand in restaurant and in-house consumption in Q1 and 3. So, if we are able to implement new facilities, we'll be able to gain competitive advantage with higher hotel standard and service. Therefore, we can retain more guests, manage satisfying guest relations, increase guest satisfaction, and eventually get higher revenue. With these new facilities, we can set with special package deals under the rate fences. By introducing rate fences, we would attract additional revenue from the facilities, increase our occupancy, and attract a local market share, and further differentiating us from the competition. Finally, our hotel would like to implement new refurbishment decision pattern based on Eileen's previous analysis in refurbishment effectiveness and efficiency. We will make decision based on this flowchart and avoid irrational refurbished decision shown and form the chart. We will always prioritize cleaning and identify if it's necessary to implement renovation or refurbishment. That's all for Hotel H&M on this amazing 18-month rafting journey. Thanks for having us today, and we are glad that our efforts have been recognized. We are very grateful for this 5% reward. Thanks again for your attention, and goodbye.